everybody. I hope everyone's having a good day today. I think a lot of us are looking at ways to, one, relax and de-stress, find ways to do something fun and distracting, and two, use the products that we already have. So what I was thinking I would do is give you some stories from my time running the beauty counter at Chanel when I was in law school, thoughts, ideas about luxury products, things that might help you. If you are purchasing things online, these are some ideas for you, some product lines that you might be interested in, ways to sort of dip your toe in the luxury market if that's something you're interested in doing. And also just have a nice conversation. You guys, you know, from what I'm doing anyway, when I'm going on social media and I'm looking at YouTube and I'm watching videos, sometimes it's nice just to have something relaxing, you know, a nice chat with someone, because you can't do that out in person and all of us miss the social interaction. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So on my face today, I have my Estee Lauder foundation. I've got my eyebrows done because that takes forever. You guys don't want to watch that. And that's it. Nothing else on right now. So we're gonna go through just a couple quick things. How to cover up some blemishes. We're gonna use the Charlotte Tilbury, the brand new blue lights, the quad, and the eyeliner, which I just picked up. So one of the things about, I think a lot of us, when we look at luxury makeup and we see models or we see people on YouTube and their faces look flawless, and then they buy the $150 foundation and their face does not look flawless. One thing I want to say at the outset, you don't see my studio here, but there's lots of lights on me. There's like 4 different lights. I've got it set up so that it's going to look a certain way. I've got a high quality camera. Those are things you're not gonna have in every day. I do take great pains in my normal day when I was going outside to make my makeup look flawless as possible, but also, you know, reasonable, like not over the top, not over cakey. So when I do the filming for you guys, I do wear a little bit more makeup than I would be wearing in my normal day, because when you film on camera, if you wore a very light amount of makeup, it does not show up well. So just keep that in mind when you're comparing yourself to anybody that's on camera or on film. It is not the same. So don't hold yourself to a standard that doesn't really exist. We're gonna start with just covering up a couple blemishes. Thanks to the lovely way that I've been eating since I've been under quarantine, whatever you wanna call it. I have this lovely, lovely friend who's joined me on my chin. I have very dry skin, so I don't break out. It's just not a thing that happens to me. I have lines instead. Frankly, I'd rather have the acne. But anyway, so I have a friend here on my chin, which is lovely. And I also have redness around my nose. I always have redness around my nose because I have rosacea. So this is the Dior Forever Skin Correct, which I think is a really great product. And I am just gonna literally place it in a couple places where I feel like, for at least today, I'm having whatever this is. I don't know. And I'm just taking a beauty sponge and I'm just gonna pounce it in. You can use, brushes work really well too. And I'm just gonna pat a little area. And that covers that up. Second, we're gonna go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk blush, which has been around forever. There is a reason, guys, when things get cult status. Usually it's because they're pretty good, and this is pretty good. It's better than pretty good. I don't wear a ton of blushes. There are a lot of folks out there who are, you know, have gorgeous cheekbones and beautiful high. I don't have that. So for me, I don't really accentuate my my cheeks that much. Also, I suffer from rosacea. My cheeks get pink, so I don't do a ton of blush. But this blush is very pretty. It's very light. It's just a pink, well, it's the Pillow Talk color that you know and love. And it's just a nice wash. I don't put a lot of it on. You can build it up. For people who have darker skin tones, Charlotte Tilbury has released a medium and a dark, I believe were the shades, which would do better for people who have darker skin tone. But this, for people who are in my, which I'm probably fair, there's probably people that are, well, there are definitely people fairer than me, but I think I fall into the fair category. So anyone from very fair to, I'd say, light medium could wear this easily. In fact, you could wear this if you had medium skin tone, if you wanted something very, very light. What I would say to everyone about blush, remember where you put it. So I'm using a Scarp Barnes brush number 64. When you place blush, if you're putting it here, down below, like this part of your face, it actually doesn't lift up your face as much. The higher you put the blush, more towards your eyes, it's gonna give you a more youthful glow. If you put it just on like the apples of your cheeks here, like this, that gives you kind of like a youngish flush. Now it sounds odd, and I know you're all gonna be like, whatever. If you look in the mirror and try this at home, you'll notice it makes you look younger. I think part of that is if you've ever looked at like little kids, little children, they get this sort of little cute little round rosy glow right here in the apples of their cheeks. So make sure that when you're placing the blush, you're putting it in this area here if you're looking for that type of look. If you want something that's a little bit more, you know, blown out and up, you can absolutely do that too, and it looks lovely. But I'm just saying for a particular, you know, just doing a little bit of makeup, we're not doing something outlandish look here. This area here, and just sort of blend upwards like this, is gonna work well for most folks. And that was something that I learned when I was working at Chanel. You have to remember when people would come in, I had this one lady who, when she first came in, was very nervous. She was probably in her 50s. She had never bought luxury makeup before. She had never been to a Chanel counter. And she, first of all, felt like, you know, she didn't deserve to be there, which was the silliest thing. I was like, everyone deserves lovely, beautiful product, no matter what you're paying for it, and good service. And so, you know, I spent time with her before she ever bought anything. I mean, probably months. She would come in and we would chat and talk, and I'd do her makeup. And I would tell her, you know, look, you can wear your makeup any way you like. If you like strong, deep blush, she was very pale, then do it. But if you're looking to look a certain way, if you're trying to achieve something, here are some ideas about how to do it. And her cheeks, because she was older, the skin had sort of, it had less elasticity. We all have that as we get older. And so I would show her, you know, the placement of it. And I'll have to tell you guys, by like the third month, she came in and bought, I think my entire stock of product. I mean, like, she bought blush and she bought eyeshadow, she bought everything. And that wasn't the point. I feel like many of the people that work in the luxury counters, frankly, any of the beauty counters, you're establishing a relationship. These are people who are interested in makeup. They love the product. They love what they do. They're not there, now some of them maybe, but they're not there to sell you a lipstick. They're not there, it's not a transactional relationship, or it shouldn't be. It should be about establishing what works for the customer, and a good beauty representative will show you other products as well. They'll say, hey, like when I worked for Chanel, I loved practically every product we had except for the lip liners. They were so dry, I hated them. So I would bring them to other counters to get other types of lip liners, because our lip liners, frankly at the time, weren't great and I didn't love them. Now the Chanel lip liners are awesome and they're some of my favorites. So a good beauty representative, whether on YouTube or in a store or online or whoever you're talking to, is going to be honest with you, and they're going to tell you what works and what doesn't. If you find you're talking to someone and they're telling you everything is great and everything works for you, they're probably not being honest. I'm trying out a new mascara for you guys. It's not a new mascara, it's a new mascara to me. I'll tell you all about it in upcoming video, and I want to give correct props to the subscriber who mentioned it to me, and I will do that in the next video. But someone asked how it smudges underneath, or what the flaking is. Most mascaras will flake or smudge at some point because, you know, over a course of an 8 or 9 hour day, you're gonna get some of that, especially if you have long lashes like I do. They actually hit my skin throughout the day, so it does smudge a little bit. But there's a trick that at least helps, and one of those things is a powder. Now the problem is with the powder, of course, if you're an older, more mature person like myself, you have to be careful about putting powder under your eyes because it just accentuates the fine lines and makes it look worse. There is one powder that I have found, and one only, that does not accentuate the fine lines, works perfectly, makes my under eye look lighter, and helps with the smudging issue. That is the ByTerry Hyaluronic Hydra powder. Now, when I first started using it, it only came in the translucent color. This is a very tiny little one. I have a little tiny one because for my job, well, I used to. Right now I don't, but I used to travel all the time. So I made sure I got a little tiny one. It was only in translucent. Now it's in a bunch of colors. There's like pink and yeah, anyway. And they all work extremely well, but you have to be very careful with it. And I mean very. So you take the tiniest bit of powder. I'll show you on my finger. Tiny, tiny, tiny. And dot under your eye. I mean tiny, guys. You will find you go through one of their jars of powder. Oh, it takes me years. Just like that. And it makes a huge difference. It sort of lightens up the underneath of your eye, especially the rosy. I think it's called rosy. I can't remember right now. I'll put it down below. It highlights it a little bit. It mattifies it a little bit. It helps with the smudging and the flakes because you can sort of sweep it away. It's excellent, excellent product. And so that's my second recommendation for if you're looking online and you're like, well, I don't know what to buy. I want to buy something because either I need to buy some makeup. I feel like buying some makeup. I've been stuck in my house for a month and I want to buy something nice for myself. The ByTerry Hyaluronic Hydra powder is an excellent choice. I don't think you'll be unhappy with it, but again, use a very, very tiny amount, like tiny. You can use it all over your face as well. If your skin is a little bit oilier than mine, which is pretty much everybody, I think you wouldn't have to be so careful with it. Again, my skin's very dry and I have fine lines under my eyes. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the eyeshadow. Third tip, third trick. So when you're putting on eyeshadow, a lot of times people will feel like the eyeshadow pulls, or they'll say it doesn't go down evenly, and they see people online and they're like, oh, you know, people just put on their makeup. Most, not all, most people who are doing these videos or people that you see at a beauty counter, they have some kind of primer on their eyes to give it a smooth base. Sometimes folks will just take an eyeshadow and put it all over their eye, and that's kind of their base, and that's fine. That works for a lot of products. But what I'm gonna use is the MAC Painterly, and comes in it's a very, for me, it's close to my skin color. I'm actually just using my finger. I'm patting it into my eyelid. So this comes in a number of different colors. Painterly is the color that most fits my skin color. So you can use something that's gonna darken it up. There's ones that are more yellow, more pink. There's ones that have like, I think, not like a shimmer, but something like that. And let that sit on your eye for a second. Let it sink in, let it dry down. And while we're letting that happen, I'll tell you a story about this lady came in who had more hooded eyes. And one thing about hooded eyes don't necessarily mean that you have more mature skin. It does happen as we age, your eyelids get heavy, they come down. But there's also people who from a very young age have more of a hooded lid. The thing that you want to keep in mind is what kind of look are you going for? If you're trying to make your eye look more open and you're looking for techniques for a more hooded lid, a more mature lid, where you get sort of that carved look, you just have to remember placement. And I can actually do an entire video on that if people are interested. I can make it very short, like a 5-minute video, just on how to do techniques for hooded eyes. But what I would want you to keep in mind is just remember that it's the bone structure underneath that you're focused on, not the skin on top. So you're looking for the actual crease of your eye, wherever that may be. You can take a brush and put it up against your skin. You'll feel where the crease is. You'll know when you open your eye and you look straight ahead where the top of that is. That is where you're going to want to place the darker shade. It's going to recede that part. The part that's going to be that you want to bring forward, you're going to use a lighter shade on. It's really, I mean, it sounds a little complicated when I explain it. When I show it to you, I promise you, anyone can make their eyes look more open, more youthful. It just takes a little bit of practice. You know, don't be too hard on yourself if you don't get it right the first time. Playing with makeup should be fun. It should be enjoyable. If it's something that helps relax you, take this time to do that. You know, pull out your old makeup stuff you haven't used in a long time. I've been doing that. I'm looking through my drawers. I'm like, oh, I loved that eyeshadow. How come I don't use that? You don't always have to have the newest brand thing, you know, newest brand or the newest thing. There's lots of great products that we all have in our drawers, in our bathrooms right now that we could use. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with the Charlotte Tilbury. This is the new Blue Lights. And I'm gonna use the lightest, no, I'm gonna use the lightest shade all over. And I'm gonna take a Chikuhodo eyeshadow brush and just put it all over my eye. I know a lot of people will have heard, if you're older, don't use shimmer shades, don't put them, don't listen to those people. Do what you like, do what makes you happy. There are no, just because you're a certain number doesn't mean you can't or should do anything. There are certainly, I will tell you, differences in my skin now that I'm 47 than when I was 27, but so what? Wayne Goss number 3, and I'm gonna go into the brown shade here. It's not really brown, it's like copper. And I'm gonna put it in the crease of my eye. And I basically just kind of went like this to find the crease. And windshield wipered back and forth, very lightly. We're going for a, you know, nice daytime look. And then I'm just kind of smoking it upwards by going around back and forth. I'm pulling it out a little bit on the edge here, guys. Like this. A little past my brow, because I'm gonna make it look a little more dramatic. Why not? Let's have some fun. One of the ladies that I used to have come in the Chanel counter all the time, I will call her Helen. Helen used to come in and I would do her makeup for like all her events. She had these, I don't really, you know, it's funny, I can't remember what she did for a living, but she had like a very important job and she had to go to like all these dinners and, you know, galas and everything. And so she would just have me do her makeup every time she would have a gala or event or whatever it was. And she was cute. She always had a particular, like she had an idea in mind of what she wanted. And one day she came in with a picture, and those of you who are young might not know who this, well, no, you'll know who it is. She came in one day with a picture of Cindy Crawford and like this look with these wings, and she's like, I want to look just like this. And I was like, sure, Ellen, we can, that's not a problem. Now, she did not walk out the door looking like Cindy Crawford. If I was that talented, frankly, if anyone was that talented, that would be impressive. But she was a lovely woman, and really what she wanted is she wanted a particular look. She wanted this, it was a very, you know, dramatic cat eye, and dramatic cat eyes are not easy to do, especially on yourself. Much easier to do, in my opinion, on someone else. I gave her the look that she wanted. She was thrilled. She went to her event, was very, very happy. So Helen was looking for, you know, a particular look. She wanted something very winged and very dramatic, and I was happy to do that for her. You guys can do that at home. You can do it, you know, you look in the mirror, take your wing liner, just, you know, start working on it. It doesn't matter if you mess up. If you mess up, you mess up. Nobody's gonna see it except for yourself. And there's always ways to fix those things. There's tips and tricks about how to fix something. You don't have to take it completely off. There's ways to address those things. But you know, if you don't play around with it, if you don't practice, if you're not willing to fail, if you're not willing to do something and have it go terribly wrong, you never learn the right way to do things. You have to learn by trying, by doing it. Any makeup artist will tell you, no matter how talented they are, they have done things that, done looks that didn't turn out great. I've had many. And also they've done things where they've gone out on an unexpected route and come up with something great. So play around with it. There's, like I said, there's tons of makeup that you already have at home. See how it works, see what you like, see what works for you. I'm gonna go into the navy blue. I have a Chanel eyeshadow brush. We're gonna make this very specific placement at the outer corner here. Going a little bit above my crease. Not a lot. Can you see that on camera, hopefully? So that you can see it. I will smoke it out in a minute, but I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Now, if you wanted to make this a little less noticeable, what I would suggest is that you go closer to where, quote, the natural crease is, so that you can't see it as much. But if you had a hooded eye, for example, and you did this, you'd have to pull at your skin a little bit. But if you did this, then you could see the more dramatic color above the crease, just as a technique. So I'm going back in with the Wayne Goss, round, and then in and out. And I'm only going in about halfway. Smoking out the edge. Okay, now we're gonna go back in with this blue pop color here, and I'm gonna use my finger and I'm gonna place it just on the mobile eyelid. Oh, that's a pretty color. Very pretty. It's got sort of an iridescence to it. Okay, let's go ahead and use the Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Blue Lights double-ended pencil, and I'll show you swatches of the two colors. Let's go ahead and use the darker shade, Super Blue, underneath. And I'm not pulling it all the way over, and I'll show you why in a minute. And on the upper, now we're going to take the electric blue color. They're calling it the Super Blue Metallic. Put that on the inner corner here. And run it back over the liner. Wow, that's really bright. That's a really bright blue. Okay. Now we're gonna take the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat Lip Pencil in Iconic Nude. If you're looking for something that's, I don't want to say it's an absolute, like everyone's gonna love it, because you never know, even if there's a product that pretty much everybody loves and everyone's like, oh, it's a great thing, there might be someone out there that hates it. But I will say that her Lip Cheat lip pencils, Charlotte Tilbury, they're really good pencils. They work on most folks. I haven't heard too many people say that they're too dry or too soft. They have decent lasting power. This one in Iconic Nude it's a pinky nude. If you want something darker, Charlotte Tilbury absolutely has a number of different shades. And the next trick that I would tell you about from working at the counter is if you want more lasting power and you want something that's gonna help with the bleeding, if you have like little lines around your mouth, like a lot of us do, fill in your whole lip. It will help to keep the lipstick on longer. It will help the lipstick from bleeding outwards. Make sure you pick a color that you like and works well with the lipstick that you're gonna choose, because it's gonna blend. So if you put on a lipstick and it doesn't really blend well with the liner that you have underneath, it's not a big deal if you've just outlined the outline of your lips. But if you put it all over your lip, the two colors are going to merge. So today I'm gonna use the Jimmy Choo Daring Pink that I reviewed the other day because I'm still testing it out. That's the shade. And when I tested them, I did not use any lip liner. So I did have some bleeding. I don't know if maybe the way that I used it that day with that particular foundation, or maybe I had too much moisturizer, I don't know, but they did bleed a little bit. So I'm gonna continue to test it out, and I will pin a comment in the Jimmy Choo review, so to let you guys know how it worked out. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put on some mascara, and I'll be right back. Back with the finished look. So just, my first thoughts on the Charlotte Tilbury, it performs extremely well. The eyeliner is awesome. The color is gorgeous, incredibly pigmented. The eyeshadows, the formulas are exactly what you would think they would be from Charlotte Tilbury. Really good. Better than a lot of her, in my opinion, some of her earlier quads. Very pigmented, very pretty. The blues, I don't generally wear blue eyeshadow. Because my eyes are blue, I tend to do more browns and coppers. They bring out my eyes a little bit more than a blue on blue does, but this is very, very pretty. I will continue to play around with it and try different designs with it. I think it came out really well today. The lipstick is, the Jimmy Choo is a very pretty, it's a beautiful lipstick. The color is really nice. I'm not exactly sure this is a daring pink, but it's very pretty. But it is bleeding on me, and again, it might not bleed on somebody else, but on me, I am seeing it in my fine lines. But we'll see. We'll see how that continues. The blush, as I said, is just a great tried and true blush. I think you guys, if you don't have it, might want to try it out in either the original or the darker shades. And the mascara I will have for you soon, guys. A little hint, I am very much enjoying it, which I did not expect. So with that, I think that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you all being here. I hope you're all staying safe and healthy, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you so much. Bye. Oh, and subscribe and like if you're willing to do so. I always forget to say that, but it really does help grow my channel. I appreciate, all the comments. If there are things that you want to see, if you like this particular video and you want to see more of it, please let me know. Thanks again. Bye.